Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and before we get started on tonight's story, I'm going to take a quick second to let you know about Chilling. The Chilling app is an app available on Android and iPhone, and it allows you to listen to all kinds of stories of horror and woe and murder and all those fun things we usually tell stories about here. The major difference is, one, it's its own standing app, which means that you're able to minimize it, close it, do whatever, and still listen to the stories in your headphones. And two, it has this really cool ambient sound feature that lets you choose your own background music or background sounds. So you get to set the mood for the story that you want to hear. It advertises itself as a more intense way to relax, which is exactly what I figured that it is. Also, they're doing a giveaway, PlayStation 5 giveaway. You head over to the chillingapp.com/PS5 and you could register to win a PlayStation 5 console with Horizon, MLB The Show 2022, a purple DualSense 5 controller, so the purple controller, and a Sony charging station. All you gotta do, download the app, start your free trial, head over to the chillingapp.com/PS5, and you're registered to win. You can just get a PS5, it's amazing. I'm one of the narrators on the app. I have a new story coming out, I think, every week, probably more frequently than that. A bunch of my friends are too, including Autumn Ivy and a few others. I really, really encourage you guys to go check it out. Go see it. And now, on to tonight's story. Well, this hideout is completely ruined, Xavier muttered, his white beard whipping around his face in the cold winds. Too bad. Had some real Game of Thrones vibes. We were standing in the sand-filled foyer of the ruined castle of Clint, Xavier's former apprentice, who I had just killed. A giant hole in the stone wall of the main level let in the howling wind and blowing snow, which had begun to fill the foyer of the medieval-style castle all around us. The old sorcerer was giving me a strange look, staring at me with his brows raised. So, let's see this upgraded wand. You must be pleased with yourself. To be honest, wasn't sure you're up to the challenge. I hesitated, then pulled the same old wand from the pocket of my brown robes that he'd seen before. The one which had belonged to his other apprentice, who I had not been able to defeat. There was no good way of telling him that Bruca, the dark sorceress, who was my nemesis, had stolen the wand from me at the last possible moment, right after I'd started celebrating my victory over Clint. So I just said it. Bruca stole it, right after I killed Clint. She snuck in through a portal, combined his wand with hers. What? How? She shouldn't have been able to do that. Like I said before, this is a Highlanders-type situation. You can't take another sorcerer's wand without killing them yourselves. That's how it's always been. Well, it looks like she found a way. And what's going to stop her from doing the same thing again next time? Xavier began to pace the snow-cluttered room, kicking white powder into the air with his boots, occasionally in childish outbursts of anger. He was muttering and cursing under his breath, saying things in an ancient language that I didn't understand. But then he stopped dead in his tracks and turned to me, zeroing in on the wand which I still held in my hand. Give me that. He snatched it from my hand and began to examine it more closely. Whispering incantations, he waved his hand over the surface of it, inspecting it from an inch away. Aha! Just as I suspected. What? What is it? He twiddled his fingers, and I saw the polished wood begin to change. The colors of it shifting before my eyes. Runes had been scratched into it, burnt with black magic. Blast! Dark wizards fooled me again. Used some sort of ancient spell to etch her name into this wand. Means whoever you kill with it, the count is hers. She can track you. She can see everything you're doing, including this. Right now. He threw the wand across the room and it hit the far wall, clattering off the stone and landing softly in a heap of snow. Hey, that's my wand, I yelled, running over and snatching it up. Having flashbacks of Bruca swiping the other one. No, it's not. It's hers. If you continue to use it, you'll be giving her more power. Don't you see, boy? She's hoodwinked us again. I stared at him stupidly. She's bamboozled us. It's a shell game, a thimber rig, scam, a flim-flam, a sham, bunco, sting, swindle. Why are you looking at me like that? Can't possibly be any clearer. You mean she tricked us? Yes! Go figure. No wonder she gave me that wand. She gave it to you? That was when I realized I had never quite told him that part. I guess in retrospect, I should have known it was too good to be true. Well, back to square one, Xavier said, setting the wand down inside a black box and shutting the lid. He put it up on a high shelf with another spell, made the whole piece of furniture disappear so that it looked like another bare wall. We were back in his workshop now, and I was feeling lower than I had in quite a long time. This will keep her from spying on us. It's still the issue of finding a proper wand. Now, this one is obviously not meant for you. At least we can keep it from the hands of evil. And by evil, you mean your daughter? Of course. Who else would I be talking about? I'm starting to think that she's the one to be concerned about, far more than that dark wizard she's been following. I wouldn't be surprised if she concocted the whole plan herself. Stinks of her deceit. The Dark One himself isn't this clever. I had to admit, he was right. They'd been 3 steps ahead of us right from the start. So, what's the plan, Xavier? I need a wand. Should we go after the next apprentice? What about that chaotic neutral guy you were always talking about? The old wizard sat down heavily at his workbench. No, not him. He's too powerful. He's really learned to embrace the chaos, turning him into a force to be reckoned with. If I know Bruca, even she wouldn't risk challenging him. Not until she's at full strength. The coffee machine clicked, indicating it was ready, and I went over to it immediately and got a mug ready for Xavier. I carefully poured the cream first into the cup, then the coffee, then the sugar. Using his favorite stirring spoon, I swirled the concoction together. I was really starting to figure this apprentice stuff out, I thought to myself, handing him the cup. Okay, well, if not him, then we have 2 options left. Who are the other 2 apprentices, and which one should I challenge next? Let's see. Sam, and there's Jed. He took a sip of his steaming coffee and spit it out, spraying the hot liquid everywhere, then began scraping his tongue with his fingernail, trying to get the remains of it out of his mouth. Water! Xavier croaked. Oh no, I thought to myself, he's been poisoned. Bruca must have snuck into his workshop while he was at Clint's castle. She never rested for a moment. I ran over to get him a glass of water from the sink and brought it back. The old sorcerer guzzled down half the cup, gargling and then spitting it out onto the floor. This coffee tastes like hot garbage. What do you do? Same as always. I turned the machine on. I poured it in the water. I hit the brew button. Problem? Oh no. Don't tell me. Have you been reusing the same coffee grounds every time? No wonder it always tastes worse than the time before. He poured the murky puddle water into the concrete floor in disdain. I don't like to do this, but I have no choice. You've disappointed me for the last time. The sorcerer looked menacing and tall suddenly, towering over me. His hair and beard whipped around his face in an unseen wind. Lightning and thunder cracked in the distance, despite the clear sky outside, and I saw a burning fire in his eyes like I'd never seen before. We'll have to get drive-through. Come on, kid. He pointed his staff at the driveway and a car appeared. Looked like a Ford. Let me guess. From the car dimension? Xavier laughed loudly. Don't be ridiculous. Always buy domestic. And you kids wonder why there's no good manufacturing jobs in this country anymore. 10 minutes later, the 2 of us were sitting in the parking lot of the nearby coffee shop, sipping our drinks. I had opted for a latte, but Xavier was sticking with his patented double-double. Let's get this settled. You can choose your next apprentice to challenge. First there's Sam, skilled practitioner in the use of emotional magic. Emotional magic? What the hell? Okay, this is an easy one. I'll take Sam first. I don't even need to hear about the other guy. Xavier looked surprised. Oh, okay, that's settled. You seem to have this all figured out. He took another sip of his coffee to wash down the bite of honey cruller that he was slowly masticating in his mouth. You know the worst part of getting old? There's a lot of them. Lack of saliva is really frustrating sometimes. He dumped some more coffee into his maw, like a baker with a dough that's a little too dry, adding some more liquid, and continued chewing. Okay, Sam, it is. Should take a week to prepare at the very least, Xavier said, his mouth still working. A week? I can't wait that long. Bruca's out there right now, killing more apprentices, taking their wands. If we wait, they'll all be dead by the time we get there. Xavier thought about this, playing with his beard and fiddling with his mustache. You have a point. We have to go now. Both of us. If I have you with me, then Sam should be no problem, right? He mumbled something disagreeable, then eventually nodded. All right, we'll go. But you have to keep in mind, Sam is a master of emotional manipulation, with access to all the accompanying powers from that quadrant of the multiverse. That means we have to be rock solid mentally before entering that battle. If you have any weaknesses, you can count on Sam to expose them. I thought about this for a little while. Whatever emotions I had were easy enough to keep in check. After battling the Ice Wizard Clint and the Rat Whisperer Derek, I thought an emotional magic user could be a piece of cake. After all, what was the worst they could do? Make me cry? Let's go, I'm ready, I said. Time to get myself a wand, a real one this time. All right, Xavier replied. Let's finish this first. He took a tentative sip of his coffee, then tried to guzzle it, and stopped. Ugh, too hot. He held his finger up to the side of the cup and pointed at it with a concentrated effort. I felt a bit of magical energy flowing through the staff, lingering in the air around us, and shivered. It was suddenly a bit cooler in the car, despite the hot day outside. Xavier took another sip of coffee, this time much longer, and smacked his lips, looking satisfied. Much better. Perfect drinking temperature. Apparently the rules about using the powers of the multiverse sparingly only applied to me. Okay, step to the portal, boy. Same as the first time against Derek, I'll be with you the whole way. Try not to interfere as much this time, though. Just remember, stay strong, and you have the infinite wisdom and strength of the multiverse on your side. I nodded, stepping through the swirling blue vortex. Stepping out on the other side, I found myself in a field of roses. The flowers were in full bloom. Their thorns looked viciously pointed. If I moved in any direction, I would bump into a thorn bush, it seemed. Not far in the distance, I saw a sprawling palace. It was painted in pale gold. A path was leading towards it from the center of the field of roses. If I could just get to that path, I knew I'd be able to reach the gate with no problem. Xavier plunged out of the portal next, landing in a tumble of thorns and snapping several delicate rose stems in the process. Ow, 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 he muttered, standing up and pulling the stems and branches from his cheeks and hands where the thorns were embedded. I noticed there were odd-looking black streaks beginning to quickly spread from the wounds where his skin had been pierced. These vein-like streaks were growing rapidly longer, moving in the direction of Xavier's heart. He looked down at his hands with growing concern. Oh dear, that's not good at all. The last words from the old sorcerer's mouth before he collapsed in the dirt. He looked to be sleeping, making loud snoring sounds with his lips flapping together like a horse with each exhale. Black, poisonous-looking veins were still spreading all over his skin, growing outwards from where the thorns had stabbed him. They spread across his face, and I imagined them slowly advancing towards the old man's heart. And with that, the old man exhaled a breath of air. Only this time, he didn't take another breath afterwards. He lay silent, still, and unmoving among the roses. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I just wanted to tell you thank you for watching tonight's video, or listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. And as always, I want to give a very big thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. If you scroll down to the description at the very bottom, you'll find a whole bunch of people there. Also, we've included this nice little scrolling thing because the number of people who support me on Patreon has gotten so big that I'm afraid it might actually max out the description. So we've included this here as the little scrolling text on the end screens. So everybody on that scrolling text, everybody I'm about to mention right now and mispronounce all of your names, and everybody who can donate even $1, thank you so much. A very big thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Stephanie Butler, Reaper61167, Bobby Karman, Tristain, Pelton, Chance Burnett, Diana Kraus, Vicky McQuicky, SamaHigh, CrusaderChocobo, SpookyShel, Atomaurus, Grand Moth the Milky, Big Smoke 369, Captain Scurvy, SaltyIrishPoet, Estebean, Brayden Morris, Nate Kuhl, HorrorFan1212, Hour Minute Second Time, Kyle Reznak, David Martin, Scare-ington the Unkempt, Robert Malcolm, Angelus, Spanky, Snoochie Boochie, Seclude, Lupita Galvin, That Creepy Chick, Tyler Fletcher, Merxenum, Red Shadow Cat, Xavier the Cheyenne, Demix, Sean Cadieu-baker, 6 Gay Rats in a Trenchcoat, Turtleman, Rob Like Sharp Things, Cryolinian, Xavier Graphius, Lord Life's Best, Goring Tramagasi, Maria Walker, Emily Mitchell, Crazy Kid, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Eka Limchok, Dirt Diver 030, Matt Bach, Voice of Sand, Coffee Zombie, Hidden Tiger, Shelly J, Jeremy H, Psychomel, Nana, Deleted Account, Melted Lake, Tali Sue, William King, Darth Miver, Michael Ortiz, Titanic Aries, Bardo Hawk 764, Lambda M98, Harley, Sashi Suzaku, Cronut 509, Kaylee Ambrose, Suji Campbell, Stricken, Freddy Krueger, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Hades' Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Benjamin Welvert, Cryptic Nightmares, Kiri the Sloth, Fester's Lampshade, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, Rafael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. As always, thank you guys so much, because you guys help me do everything that I do here. You guys help pay authors for stories and commission stories and do everything that I can do to make this channel and make this podcast the best it could possibly be. So thank you all for supporting me here. And as always, everyone, sweet dreams.